Hi, Andy XL back with another FIFA 2026 World Cup podcast. And it's the second semi final of the World Cup, the big one England versus Argentina. A real grudge match for many reasons. Simeone buying a penalty off David Seaman, then his shameless act of simulation at being tapped on the ankle by David Beckham to get him sent off. Maradona's sublime goal, which was the work of a football genius, and the hand of God goal, or as I prefer to call it, the act of a dog if you prefer. And then we've got the Falklands or the Malvinas, whichever side of the fence you sit on that. Plenty of bad blood has flown under this particular bridge. But what will happen this time around? England's 90-minute record in this tournament is played 6, won 4, drawn 2, scored 12, conceded 6, with 11 of their 12 goals coming from Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham, which is 12 of 13 if you include Bellingham's extra time winner against Norway. Argentina have played 6, won 4, drawn 2, same record, scored 14, conceded 6. Both of the draws coming in the knockout phase where they overcame Cape Verde and 10-man Switzerland with extra time goals. Argentina started the tournament very well, but in the knockout phase made very hard work of beating Cape Verde in extra time, needed a miracle late comeback and some rub of the green in terms of refereeing decisions to overcome Egypt, and were helped by Mbolo's ridiculous act of simulation that got him sent off for a second bookable offence when they needed extra time, again, to beat Switzerland. So barring those last 15 minutes against Egypt, they've been pretty poor in the last 3 games, so they need to find their early tournament form if they are to beat England here. England, though, are also yet to find their best form in this tournament. They played one very good half against Croatia, but were inconsistent and looked vulnerable defensively in the group phase. They had to come back from conceding an early goal to get past DR Congo in the round of 32, and then played really well and performed heroically, even when going down to 10 men, to beat Mexico at altitude in the Azteca in the round of 16. Then they battled their way past Norway with a bit of fortune. Again, coach Thomas Tuchel was right to point out they won because of will to win and collective spirit rather than playing well technically. The brilliance of Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham, plus that collective spirit and will to win, have got them this far. But can they find their best form when it really matters? Well, in the last World Cup, there was a team that struggled early, only just beat Australia in the first knockout round, needed penalties to beat Holland before finding their best form to beat Croatia in the semi-finals and upset France in a thrilling final. That team was Argentina. What an irony if England are the team that find their form this time around. Argentina started this tournament playing a kind of 4-3-3 formation, but that has morphed into a 4-2-2-2 as the tournament has progressed. This makes them a very narrow team that tries to create offensive openings by threading balls through channels, with pretty much the only width being provided by the fullbacks. Julian Alvarez and Lionel Messi have been the two most advanced options in this new formation, but neither sits right on top of the opposing centre backs, dropping into slightly deeper positions. Either of them or Enzo Fernandez and Alexis McAllister then make late runs to get the undone passes through channels or crosses from the fullbacks. So communication between centre-backs, fullbacks and midfield players is key for England to pick up these runners and cut out the Argentinian threat. Of course, the likes of Messi and Alvarez are good enough to create something out of nothing, especially the little maestro. So having a man on him at all times is something England could try to do, as the Swiss did in their game with Argentina. England could do that by ensuring either Declan Rice or Elliot Anderson pick him up when he is in their area, which which and which may which as I couldn't even read my own script, which as Messi plays more off the left might be more Rice than Anderson, or Mark Gahey come out of the back four to pick him up. But that risk leaves in those channels down the sides exposed for other runners. The third option is for a fullback to invert into midfield. Say Nico Riley does that. That keeps the central channels covered and still allows Rice the freedom to start counter-attacks. So England may have a number of ways they should be able to deal with Messi or could deal with Messi finding space. But, this is an all-time genius, so let's not rule out him defying that even if they try it. And with no wide attacking player to worry about, both England fullbacks can either push forward when England are attacking or invert into midfield, as both O'Reilly and Reece James would be comfortable doing, allowing Declan Rice and Anderson more freedom. I'm saying this all on the proviso that Rice is cleared to play. He's getting over his illness, but he's going to face a late test. But I can't see him being persuaded not to start this game. Those fullbacks and England's wide players will need to track back when Argentina have the ball, though, as the Argentinian fullbacks provide the width for when Argentina are attacking. This Argentinian formation is the sort that would work well against, say, Spain or Portugal, who like to play balls through the middle of defences, but could be near suicidal against teams like France or, in this case, England. If they play this 4-2-2-2 formation against England, which is really designed to all around Messi going forward, that puts a big onus on the Argentinian fullbacks, both on offence but even more so on defence, as they get little support against opposing wide players. And if you look at the goals they've conceded in the knockout stages, all of them are originated from attacks in wide areas. So for this to work, the fullbacks need to be exceptional, and the Argentinian fullbacks have shown they are far from that. If it is Anthony Gordon and Bukayo Saka that start this game for England, they could have a field day here, with the deadly duo of Kane and Bellingham benefiting from plenty of service from those areas. That does mean that the four-man central midfield of Argentina needs to be matched by England, which is why inverting a fullback to go alongside, say, Anderson to match up with a front rank of two midfielders could work well with any of Rice, Bellingham and Kane covering the rear rank of two midfielders. But it is offensively that I can see England creating chances on a regular basis against this formation. Another thing in England's favour is that Argentina's recent starting lineups have been very small, lacking in height. Only Christian Romero is over 6 foot tall, and that is only by an inch. Whereas England have O'Reilly, Stones, and/or Konza, Rice, Bellingham, Gordon, and Kane are all 6 foot or taller, and plenty of them are 6'2" or taller. So attacking set pieces and crosses could prove very fruitful for England. That said, Argentina have scored a number of headed goals in recent games, despite their lack of height. Romero is particularly adept in this area. Part of me cannot believe Argentina will play 4-2-2 against England. If they do, they could be signing their own exit visas from this tournament. If they change formation this late in the tournament, that comes as a risk too, because players may not be familiar with the new system and it may not work for them. So I do actually anticipate Argentina sticking with what has got them this far. After all, this is a team built around Messi, for Messi, and that is why they play 4-2-2-2. And that means as long as England's wide players, or even just one of them, has even a decent game, not even a good game, if either of them has a good game or both of them do, that's going to be real trouble for Argentina. But if they have even a decent game, England will score goals against Argentina. It is then down to England having a plan for Messi and improving their defensive communication to pick up late runners to prevent Argentina from doing likewise to England. For those communication reasons, the experience of John Stones might get him a start here. Um, so maybe we see Ezri Konsa at right back again, or he doesn't start and Stones does. But it'll be interesting to see what comes up. But Stones' communication and experience in these big games could be vital in that realm. Both teams have gone pretty deep into their reserves of energies in recent games. Argentina were making subs due to fatigue rather than for tactical reasons in their last game. They're not the youngest squad, and having played extra time twice in 3 games, there's mileage on the clock there. And the guys that were taken off in the last game for fatigue were notably both fullbacks who were asked to do so much work, and Christian Romero in defence. So 3 out of their backs 4 were subs due to fatigue in the last game, which again is a promising sign for England. But England have got their own possible fatigue issues. Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, Elliot Anderson, and Ezri Konsa have all used up plenty of fuel recently. And I always said the game after playing Mexico at altitude would be at least as hard physically as that game would be. So playing in the heat of Miami against Norway did not help England in that regard. As long as England can find the energy to play to their normal levels, I just see them being able to exploit the weaknesses Cape Verde, Egypt, and Switzerland found against Argentina. But England have better players than all 3 of those teams, so they should be able to do it to a greater extent. And the more I think about this, the more bullish as an Englishman I get. As long as England are not too energy depleted, I can see them having a field day against the Argentinian fullbacks, whilst having a plan to control Messi's influence on the game. England fans have endured 3 nervous and anxiety-ridden watches against DR Congo, Mexico, and Norway. But this is, for me, is going to be an easier one to endure and much more pleasurable to endure as England thump Argentina 4-1 to make the World Cup final and be one step away from ending 60 years of hurt. So I'm very confident about England's chances if Argentina play 4-2-2-2. That's the way I'm leaving it, and that's my opinion. So if you don't like it, stick it up your Malvinas. See you later.